you are doing is innovating for what I call a world-class future. A future that doesn't have any waiting lists. When we talk about access and affordability and quality and completion, those are the four cornerstones of what we've done in Washington, and I'll talk a little bit about that. When I think about those waiting lists, and I think about the millions of Americans who don't even know there's a waiting list to get onto, and I think those students can't get the classes that you want to offer them because you don't have the state money to give them those classes, to get the sequence of courses ready to be a nurse, to be a radiologic technician, to be any manner of professions that you educate our students for. It's just remarkable that we have not learned to sustain the support of this nation. And, you know, we want a future which students don't have to backtrack, to relearn what they should have learned other places. Now, we're always going to have people that didn't get an education, immigrant folks coming in that didn't have the opportunity, maybe in some of the developing countries that really don't have the education systems that we have long benefited from. But we've got a situation where we have got to stop the state disinvestment in our higher education community colleges and universities. And I have a chart, which I'm not sure if we could put it up. We had a little bit of a one of our technology changes, and I'm hoping we can show this chart, where you'll basically see every state in the country and how we have disinvested over the last, really, in this recession, not to say anything about the last recession or the recession before that. So we'd like to see a future where community colleges would remain affordable, where we wouldn't have to fight each and every year. And I'll tell you, after 4.5 years in Washington, every single year, it was a nightmare to fight for that Pell Grant. Every single day, we had to fight just to sustain the Pell Grant, much less to deliver what the president wanted to do, first out of the box, increase the Pell Grant on a sustainable, predictable formula that would allow the students to have access to the education that you provide. We also have a future where we'd be awarding certificates and degrees to far more students than we've been able to do. We have the completion agenda. You know, all of you are participating in that. The League has been a leader in looking at, you know, where can we do this? We know we have more students completing college than ever before, but our country doesn't understand two things. We have to dispel the notion that our students, on the one hand, are full-time, and on the second, don't have to work to get an education. We have not made that understanding crystal clear across the country, that more than half of community colleges, in many cases in my career, 2/3 were working while they went to college, and they were large numbers of part-time students. They simply couldn't be full-time students. I would be the first to want them to be a full-time student. Full-time students complete more, they go faster, they can get an education that we need more quickly, they can graduate, but that is just not the case with cost and family and all of the other pressures on our students. So if we can make the case that the full-time student might have been a thing in the past 50 years ago when we were only educating more elite students, but today our students are part-time, they work, and they come from very, very different backgrounds and cultures. And so we need to tirelessly educate our leaders at all levels about the experiences of your students, our students, first-generation students, students of color, immigrants, the veterans who are coming back, students with disabilities, low-income students, gay and transgender students, the new millennials, and the many, many different and growing populations that want to come into your doors and that we have welcomed historically for more than a century. We've got to look at innovation in the classroom, learning communities, high-touch virtual advising, all of those kinds of things that you are doing and continue to do. And one of the things we say is people don't understand you have been innovating for a century. Community colleges have been tremendously innovative places across America. Innovation is not something new. And I think that's another point that we can emphasize when we talk to people about the kinds of state-of-the-art programs that you are engineering on your campuses to really serve what I call the top 100% of students in this country.